Chosen one, you are the one that got away from lovers, family and friends, and your freedom is inspiring their envy at levels they never saw coming. Every person who walked away from you, every family member who dismissed you, every friend who betrayed you, they're all losing sleep right now because they finally understand what they lost. You think you were rejected, abandoned, left behind. Wrong. You escaped. You leveled up, and now your authentic power is driving them absolutely insane with regret. Today I'm going to show you exactly why your freedom has become their obsession and how being the one that got away was always your greatest victory. There's something extraordinary about your energy that most people don't understand, including you. You naturally emit 3 distinct types of magnetism that draws different kinds of people to you, like moths to a flame. Some are sexually attracted to your raw authenticity, that unfiltered realness you carry that most people are too afraid to express. Others are intellectually fascinated by your depth and wisdom. You see connections and patterns that escape ordinary minds. And then there's a third group, the most dangerous one, those who can see your incredible potential and have been actively working to prevent you from reaching it. These aren't random encounters. This has been coordinated. Multiple energies have been circling you, each one wanting to feast on a different aspect of who you are. And here's what's going to blow your mind. You've been operating under what I call a reservation system without even knowing it. People have been keeping you available for their convenience while they chase what they think are bigger prizes. Think about it. How many times have you been the backup plan? How many times have you received just enough attention to keep you interested, but not enough to feel secure? That wasn't coincidence. That was strategy. Your own family might be pulling strings behind the scenes. Not all of them. Definitely not all of them. There are some beautiful souls in your bloodline who genuinely want your success. Certain members feel threatened by your growth. You've been watching them spread stories, create obstacles, and yes, some have even been working with your past romantic interests to keep you locked in old patterns. You've sensed this. The reservation system works like this. They maintain just enough contact to keep a door open. A text here, a like there, a mutual friend dropping your name in conversation. You've experienced this exact pattern. Someone disappears for months, then suddenly reappears with some casual message, acting like no time has passed. They're keeping tabs on you while they explore other options, fully expecting you to be there when they decide to circle back. Something massive is shifting in the spiritual realm right now, and you're feeling it in your body. All those lies that have been swirling around you, all that deceptive energy that's been making you question your own perceptions, it's dismantling. The people who thought they were playing you are about to discover they've been played by forces much bigger than themselves. You've been preparing for this moment without even realizing it. Every time you chose solitude over fake company, every time you walked away from drama instead of engaging, every time you prioritized your peace over someone else's chaos, you were building the exact energy that's about to set you completely free. You need to pay attention, because this is going to explain so much about your past relationships. While you were being completely authentic, showing up as your genuine self, everyone around you was presenting themselves as positive forces in your life. You trusted their words, believed their intentions, and gave them access to your energy. Meanwhile, they believed you were the one putting on an act. This is classic projection from sociopathic energies, and you've been surrounded by more of them than you realized. They assumed you were playing the same game they were: manipulation, control, hidden agendas. When you showed them love, they interpreted it as strategy. When you were vulnerable, they catalogued it as weakness to exploit later. When you were consistent, they mistook it for predictability. You were being genuine while they were calculating. You were building connections while they were building leverage. You were creating memories while they were creating ammunition. They thought they had you figured out. Game recognized game, right? Except you weren't playing a game at all. And this fundamental misunderstanding is what's about to become their downfall. You were being used as a pawn in someone else's chess match, and you probably felt it in your gut, even when you couldn't explain it. They triangulated you, positioned you as the weapon they could use to take down someone they perceived as more powerful. You were their easily conquerable toy, while they reached for what they thought were higher value targets. Remember that person who suddenly became interested in you right around the time they were having problems with someone else. Remember how you became the confidant, the shoulder to cry on, the one who validated their perspective. You weren't helping them heal. You were being recruited as an ally in their war against someone else. Every time they faced consequences for their actions, you absorbed the impact. You became their emotional shock absorber, taking on their guilt, their shame, their responsibility. When their other relationships fell apart, somehow it became about what you did or didn't do. When their schemes backfired, you were blamed for not supporting them enough. You've been carrying other people's karma, and that ends now. The most twisted part of this entire dynamic is that they celebrated winning connections that were actually toxic to your growth. That relationship that ended badly, you cried, you questioned yourself, you wondered what you could have done differently. That friendship that became draining, you kept investing energy, hoping it would return to what it used to be. That family member who cut contact, you carried guilt about not being enough. They were like fungus in your life, and by removing themselves, they actually did you the biggest favor possible. They thought they won. They have no idea they just freed you to step into your actual power. You've been mourning losses that were actually gains. You've been feeling rejected when you were actually being liberated. You've been experiencing what felt like failure when you were actually being prepared for your real success. Remember that saying about big bad energy. If you believe you're the biggest threat in the room, there's always someone bigger waiting in the shadows. Your manipulators just learned this lesson the hard way, and you're about to witness the most satisfying plot twist of your life. The same people who were pulling their strings while they pulled yours, those puppet masters, are now tightening the grip. Your former manipulator has become the manipulated. They thought they were in control. They felt so clever and strategic, completely unaware they were blindfolded on this entire journey, being led somewhere they never intended to go. You've seen the cracks appearing in their perfect facade. You've noticed the stress they're trying to hide, the desperation creeping into their voice, the way their confidence has shifted into something that looks more like panic. Right now, as you're listening to this, that person who tried to control you is sitting in a very different position. They're cornered. The social protection they enjoyed is crumbling. The family members who used to cover for them are stepping back. The friends who used to validate their behavior are seeing through the act. You predicted this. There were moments when you looked at their lifestyle, their choices, their treatment of people, and you knew it wasn't sustainable. You saw the karma building up even when they seemed to be getting away with everything. Whatever financial, social, or familial shield they hid behind, it's all dissolving. People who used to find them useful are discovering they're more trouble than they're worth. The image they worked so hard to maintain is becoming impossible to uphold. You're watching them face sleepless nights right now. You might even feel a little sorry for them, because that's who you are. You have empathy, even for people who hurt you. Genuine guilt is creeping into their consciousness, and here's what's eating them alive. They can't even fully embrace being the victim in their current situation, because deep down, they know they created this mess. The obsidian inner order isn't for everyone. It's for the ones who walked through hell smiling and came out glowing. You didn't come here to be liked. You came here to remember who you are, and we remember with you. This isn't a community. It's a war room for the spiritually elite. A headquarters for timeline jumpers, curse breakers, and reality benders. Every weekly Zoom call is a live frequency upgrade where dragons speak, codes unlock, and the veil lifts. You'll get access to elite downloads, energetic technologies, and ancient transmissions that were never meant for the masses. Because let's be real, most people can't handle what you carry. Inside, you don't heal. Rhine, you resurrect. You reclaim. You reign. Click the link in the description. If you're tired of surface-level fluff and ready to sit at the table of the anointed, then welcome to the obsidian inner order, where you become the source. The person who's now controlling them saw right through the manipulation from day one. They allowed your former controller to think they were winning, while slowly gathering evidence, building leverage, and positioning themselves as the dominant force. Sound familiar? It's exactly what was done to you, except you were too pure-hearted to see it as manipulation. You're witnessing the universe's justice system in action. Every energy they sent toward you is returning to them multiplied. Every boundary they violated with you is being violated in their current situation. Every way they made you feel small is exactly how they're feeling now. The difference is, you handled it with grace. You internalized the pain, questioned yourself, and tried to become better. They're handling it with rage, blame, and desperate attempts to regain control. You want to know why you were always their primary target. It wasn't because you were weak. It was because your authentic existence exposes their performance. And deep down, you always knew this even when you couldn't articulate it. Every single day that you live genuinely, you hold up a mirror to their fraudulent life. You don't even have to say anything. Your natural way of being makes their constant acting look exhausting. Your inner peace highlights their inner chaos. Your ability to be alone comfortably shows how desperate they are for external validation. You've always had this effect on people. Even as a child, adults would get uncomfortable around your directness. Teachers would be unsettled by your questions. Family members would try to dim your light because it made their shadows more obvious. The way you live makes certain people physically uncomfortable, and you've learned to tone yourself down to make others feel better. You have a type of strength they recognize but can't access. They want what you have, the way you think, your perspective on life, your ability to find joy in simple things, your resilience in the face of disappointment. Acquiring what you have naturally would mean admitting their entire approach to life has been wrong. So instead of learning from you, they decided to try breaking you down to their level. You've been dimming your light for people who were threatened by your shine. You've been making yourself smaller for people who felt insecure about your natural size. You've been explaining yourself to people who never deserved an explanation. Your voice carries weight, and they know it. When you speak your truth, people listen. When you share your perspective, it resonates. When you call out inconsistencies, people pay attention. This is exactly why certain energies have been working overtime to silence you. They need you quiet to maintain their illusions. You've been censoring yourself to keep peace with people who never intended to give you peace. You've been walking on eggshells around people who were actively trying to crack your foundation. You hold their secrets. You've witnessed their contradictions, and you know exactly who they are when no one else is watching. That's why they can never fully relax around you, and that's why they needed you either completely under their control or completely out of their life. This is where things get dark, chosen one, and you need to understand what you've been up against so you can fully appreciate what you've survived. There have been actual spiritual attacks directed at your love life and meaningful connections. Some people in your circle have been actively working to muddle your romantic possibilities and sabotage your friendships. Every time you find peace in a relationship, chaos follows. Every time you're about to take things to the next level with someone genuine, some crisis pulls you away. Love spells, binding rituals, psychic attacks. Yes, these things are real, and yes, they've been directed at you. You might not believe in this kind of thing, or you might think it's too dramatic to be true, yet you've experienced the effects. The goal was to make you unavailable to genuine love, while keeping you accessible to their manipulation. There's someone with karmic ties to you, possibly a family member, or someone you've known for years, who has been actively interfering with your connections. You've probably suspected this person, but talked yourself out of it, because you couldn't believe someone that close to you would sabotage your happiness. You've watched them ask too many questions about your dating life. You've noticed how they always have something negative to say about anyone you're interested in. You've seen how they create urgency and crisis right when you're about to get serious with someone. They've been trying to pollute the energetic space around you, making quality people hesitant to get too close. They spread subtle stories, create awkward situations, and plant seeds of doubt in the minds of people who could genuinely love you. You've been fighting an invisible war while trying to build visible connections. You've been overcoming obstacles that were artificially created while thinking you were just having bad luck in love. Your spiritual protection is stronger than their attacks. Every spell bounces back. Every negative intention returns to its sender multiplied. Every attempt to bind your energy only makes you more free. You're operating from authentic power, not manufactured control, and that makes you essentially immune to their efforts. You've been naturally neutralizing attacks without even knowing you are under attack. Your prayers, your meditation, your positive intentions, your genuine love for yourself and others, all of that creates a shield they can't penetrate. While they've been wasting energy trying to manipulate outcomes, you've been naturally attracting what's meant for you. Their interference has actually been redirecting you away from connections that would have been wrong for you anyway. You've been divinely protected this entire time, and now you're about to understand why you needed that protection and what you were being protected for. Something shifted recently, and you felt it even if you couldn't name it. You stopped playing their games without even realizing you were doing it. You stopped explaining yourself to people who weren't really listening. You stopped trying to convince people who had already made up their minds. You stopped investing energy in connections that weren't reciprocating. While they're still stuck in the same old patterns of manipulation and control, you've quietly moved into a completely different chapter of your life. You've upgraded your standards without making announcements. You've changed your boundaries without sending explanations. You've evolved past their reach without seeking permission. You've become a catalyst, and this is your superpower. Your presence forces people to show their true nature. The genuine ones are drawn closer because they recognize authenticity when they see it. The fake ones reveal themselves and eventually remove themselves from your life because they can't maintain their act around your realness. You don't have to do anything except be yourself. You don't have to call people out, expose their lies, or fight their energy. Your simple existence does all the work. You've been preparing for this moment your entire life. Every disappointment taught you discernment. Every betrayal showed you red flags. Every loss made space for what was actually meant for you. The same triangulation that was meant to trap you actually freed you. By trying to make you unavailable to others, they removed you from their manipulation network. You've been extracted from their game board without them realizing they lost their most valuable piece. A heart-centered beginning is unfolding for you right now. This isn't just about romantic love, though that's definitely part of it. This is about every type of connection in your life becoming more genuine, more supportive, more aligned with who you really are. You're attracting people who celebrate your wins instead of diminishing them. You're connecting with energies who support your dreams instead of discouraging them. You're building relationships based on mutual respect instead of one-sided service. Your former controllers can sense this shift happening. They can feel the quality energy flowing toward you, and it's driving them to desperation because they know they're no longer part of your upgrade. You are not the small wolf in this story. You are the apex predator who was temporarily playing small to make others comfortable. You've been operating at a fraction of your actual capacity because full power would have intimidated everyone around you. You've been holding back your intelligence in conversations because your insights made others feel dumb. You've been dimming your success because your achievements made others feel inadequate. You've been minimizing your standards because your boundaries made others feel judged. Every person who tried to manipulate you was actually reaching up to you, not down. They were climbing toward your energy level while pretending they were doing you a favor by giving you attention. Your approval came too easily because you were already operating from a higher frequency than they could recognize. You validated them simply by being present. You didn't make them work for your attention, chase for your approval, or compete for your energy. And that's exactly why your validation wasn't enough for them. You've been giving premium energy to people with basic comprehension. You've been offering authentic connection to people who only understood transactional relationships. You've been sharing your depth with people who lived on the surface. Your ability to walk away demonstrates your true power level. While they're stuck in patterns of desperate attachment and controlling behavior, you've already moved past them. You don't need them to complete you, validate you, or make you whole. You're complete already. You always have been. That's what they sensed about you, and that's what they tried to convince you wasn't true. They're going at high speed on a highway with no exit ramp, unable to slow down because stopping would mean facing the truth about themselves. Meanwhile, you've already taken the exit to a better road, and you're driving at your own pace toward destinations they can't even imagine. Right now, that person who tried to control you is feeling completely cornered, and you might be sensing their desperation even from a distance. All their escape routes are closing. The people they thought they could rely on are pulling back. The safety nets they built are failing. You've seen this pattern before in your own life. You know what it looks like when someone's world starts crumbling and they begin reaching out to old connections, trying to reactivate relationships they previously dismissed. When someone with manipulative tendencies feels trapped, they become dangerous in predictable ways. They can't admit that others have power over them because that would shatter their entire self-image. So instead of facing their real problems, they're looking for smaller targets they can still dominate. You've become that target again. The phone calls, the messages, the sudden concern for your well-being after months or years of silence. They'd rather gang up on you, try to conquer what they see as the smaller wolf, than face the demons that are actually hunting them. You recognize this energy because you've dealt with it before. The false urgency, the manufactured crisis, the subtle blame shifting that makes everything somehow your fault or your responsibility. They're on the brink of a spiritual awakening, and it's going to be one of those harsh ones, the kind that strips away everything they thought they knew about themselves. They have material things to lose, status to lose, relationships to lose, and all of it is starting to feel meaningless anyway. You understand this feeling because you've been through your own stripping away. The difference is, you accepted the process, you allowed yourself to be humbled, you used the experience to become more authentic. Your freedom triggers them more than anything else. The fact that you can be happy without them, successful without their approval, loved without their permission, it threatens the foundation of their worldview. You're living proof that their entire system is unnecessary. You're demonstrating that peace is possible, that joy doesn't require their participation, that love exists outside their control. Whatever they grabbed hold of when they let you go is completely ego-based. The person they chose over you doesn't actually want them. The family members they're trying to impress don't respect them. The friends they prioritized are using them. You knew this would happen. Somewhere in your spirit, you knew their choices weren't sustainable. You saw the superficiality, the performance, the lack of genuine connection, even when you couldn't convince them to see it. They know this. They absolutely know their current situation is hollow. They know they made the wrong choice. They know they gave up something real for something fake. They know they traded depth for surface, authenticity for image, love for leverage. They just don't want you to know that they know. You've been protecting their secret by staying quiet about what you observed. You've been letting them maintain their illusion by not pointing out the obvious contradictions in their new life. Some of them have been lying about their family situations, and you've suspected this. Either they hid the existence of family members, or the family they claimed isn't actually theirs, or their actual relatives are two-faced and don't support them the way they pretended. You've seen the evidence, the photos that don't add up, the stories that change, the people who are mysteriously absent from important events. You've noticed the inconsistencies, but kept your observations to yourself. The breaking point is approaching fast. This type of energy can only maintain the facade for so long before everything collapses. When it does, they're going to remember exactly what they lost when they lost you. You represent everything they wish they had the courage to choose. Authenticity over approval, truth over comfort, depth over convenience, love over leverage. Your freedom represents everything they wish they had the courage to pursue. The ability to be alone without being lonely, the strength to stand by your values even when it costs you relationships, the wisdom to choose quality over quantity in every area of life. Every element of joy in your life is something they feel they need to take away, because watching you thrive makes their own compromise feel unbearable. Your happiness is evidence that their sacrifice was unnecessary. The most beautiful part of this entire story is that you never had to fight for your freedom. You didn't have to expose anyone, manipulate anyone, or destroy anyone. The trash took out the trash. The universe cleaned house for you without you having to get your hands dirty. You stayed in your integrity while chaos swirled around you. You maintained your character while others revealed theirs. You kept your peace while others lost their minds. While you were focused on your own growth and healing, the manipulative energies in your life were busy destroying each other. The same forces they used against you turned on them. The same games they played on you were played on them by people more skilled at manipulation. You've been watching this unfold with a mixture of vindication and sadness. Vindication because your intuition about these people was correct. Sadness because you genuinely hoped they would choose better for themselves. You are now positioned to attract heart-centered connections because you're no longer energetically tied to the fake ones. That relationship possibility everyone keeps talking about. It's real, and it's available to you now because the counterfeit love has been cleared away. You've been prepared for this love through everything you've survived. You know what real connection feels like because you've experienced what fake connection feels like. You can recognize authenticity because you've been exposed to manipulation. You value genuine affection because you've been offered conditional approval. Your voice carries more weight now than it ever has. People are listening when you speak because you're no longer diluting your message, trying to make manipulators comfortable. You're speaking pure truth, and truth has its own magnetic power. The ceiling-shattering moment everyone keeps sensing around you, that's your authentic power, finally being unleashed without interference. Every dream they tried to delay, every goal they tried to discourage, every vision they tried to dim, all of it is about to manifest because the resistance has been removed. You've been building in the background while they were performing on the stage. You've been developing real skills while they were developing image. You've been cultivating genuine relationships while they were collecting contacts. Now it's your time to shine, and the light you've been hiding is about to become impossible to ignore. You were never the prey in this story, chosen one. You are the beast in the woods that everyone else fears to encounter, and you're just beginning to understand the full extent of your power. The player who thought they were playing you is finally seeing that the game was always more serious than they realized. They were playing checkers while forces around them were playing chess, and you weren't playing at all. You were just being yourself, which turned out to be the most powerful position possible. You've been operating from a place of authenticity, while everyone else was operating from strategy. You've been building from love, while they were building from fear. You've been creating from abundance, while they were hoarding from scarcity. While they scramble in their collapsing illusions, you stand in your authentic power, completely free from their manipulation. The person they thought was easily conquerable was actually the one they should have been most careful about losing. You are not the small wolf. You are not the lone wolf. You are not the easily conquered target they believed you to be. You are the one that got away, and your freedom is inspiring a level of envy they never expected to feel. Your success is creating a standard they can't meet. Your peace is highlighting chaos they can't resolve. Your joy is exposing emptiness they can't fill. The warning for them is simple. They picked the wrong target and are now facing the consequences of that choice. They thought they were hunting prey and discovered they were approaching an apex predator. For you, chosen one, this is your victory lap. Your authentic power is fully activated. Your voice is important and needs to be heard. Your freedom is not just personal liberation, it's inspiration for everyone else who's been trapped in manipulative situations. You've been preparation for this moment. Every challenge strengthened you, every loss redirected you, every disappointment refined you, every betrayal revealed what you really needed. The beast in the woods has awakened, and the forest will never be the same. Your roar will be heard. Your presence will be felt. Your power will be recognized, and everyone who underestimated you will finally understand what they lost when they lost you.